I'm pumping on the chest of a little 17-year-old boy. How would you feel?
So difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that.
Prepare yourself for the jaw-dropping statements about seeing Diddy CS that are sure to shake the entertainment world to its core. We all know the stories about nightclub shootings and outrageous claims, but the horrific truth behind Diddy's dark past is much more distressing. Gene Contract, one of Diddy's most vociferous critics, has revealed explosive information regarding a fatal incident involving a youngster during a stampede.
I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
That's only the tip of the iceberg, as Diddy faces a possible life sentence amid major crime claims. Comparisons to infamous figures such as Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly are emerging. Legal experts warn that Diddy could soon be behind bars for life if these charges hold up in court. The scandal has already led to federal raids on his property, where agents searched for damning proof. The gravity of these accusations is compounded by recent allegations from his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, who has bravely stepped forward with claims of physical abuse.
Just last week, federal agents raided 2 homes of rapper and music mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs in Los Angeles and Miami.
As more victims emerge with horrifying stories of assault and trafficking, the real extent of Diddy's controversial and dangerous behavior is becoming impossible to ignore. Get ready for a deep dive into the allegations and controversies involving one of hip-hop's most influential figures. This is a story of power abuse and a potential downfall that could forever redefine Diddy CMS's reputation.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
The terrible events of December 28, 1991 still haunt people who were there that night. A stampede occurred at a Cherry basketball game arranged by renowned Puff Daddy Combs at the City College of New York's campus, leading in 8 fatalities and several injuries. The incident occurred as an impatient mob of over 5,000 tried to force their way into a stadium with a capacity of barely 2,700. This unsafe congestion, combined with weak security measures, created a fatal scenario that would leave a lasting mark on D's career.
Well, then in 1991, there was the Heavy D and Puff Daddy celebrity basketball game.
City College tragedy.
On that fatal evening, the allure of witnessing celebs like Boyz II Men run DC and JY drew thousands more than planned. The gym's restricted capacity quickly became overrun, with just one door allowed for entrance. The crowd outside got significantly restless.
A few times I thought I was going to pass out because it was hot on that staircase. You know what I'm saying? And when they closed the doors, I knew something was going on.
Eyewitnesses described the atmosphere as chaotic, with little skirmishes breaking out and tensions growing as the start time of the game near, when organizers decided to seal the doors to the building's entrance to prevent further overcrowding pandemonium. We
were there at the doorway pulling people in, trying to get them. It was bananas. I pulled friends through the door.
The Door former bodyguard Gone Deal recently shared a harrowing account of that night in an interview, according to Deal. The chaos that led to the deadly stampede was exacerbated by Diddy's decision to cut costs on security. Deal revealed that he was forced to perform resuscitation on a teenager caught in the crush, a haunting memory that still lingers with him.
Really think it's Diddy for? Why you believe that?
Because you don't cut security to save $1.
As the mob surged ahead, the pressure grew intense. Glass windows cracked and people were trampled in a stairwell going to the gym. Inside, players were packed so tightly they could hardly move. Charmaine Jones, a survivor, vividly remembers being shoved through a glass window pane, battling to breathe. "We survived by hiding in a restroom stall." Jones described how the 3 of us huddled in there until everything settled down. The aftermath was a sight of horror, with victims sprawled across the floor and the injured lay neglected for excruciating minutes before help came. An announcement over the intercom declared the game canceled and directed people to leave, causing another wave of terror. Lynette DeLay, then 18, remembered the commotion as individuals trampled on each other in a desperate bid to run. A female was sitting on my chest, unconscious. DeLanne remarked, "I just thank God I'm still alive." Despite the incident, no criminal charges were brought against Combs, but a civil court found that he was partly responsible for the disaster owing to deficient event preparation and security. Judge Louis C. Benza condemned the event's organization, saying, "It does not take an Einstein to grasp that young people attending a rap concert disguised as a celebrity basketball game who had spent as much as $20 a ticket would be highly unhappy and easy to control if they were unable to obtain entry to the event because it was oversold."
And you blame Diddy for that?
Yeah, I do. It's his fault.
For the families of the victims, the pain of that night never went away. Jason Swain, who lost his brother Dirk in a stampede, says Diddy never truly admitted to his part. "I lost my older brother," my best friend Swain stated. "Diddy never really apologized for whatever is happening to him now. It's karma." In recent years, as Diddy faces new charges of trafficking and abuse, the shadow of the 1991 Stampede lingers large. Former guests like Carrie Miles, who barely escaped the crowd, look on the mogul's tumultuous past with a sense of inevitability. "I believe his past actions are coming back to him. I can't say I'm shocked." Gene Deal's interview adds a horrifying factor to the event. He described how the absence of suitable security measures and Diddy's cost-cutting decisions directly contributed to the disaster. "We didn't have enough guards to control the crowd," Deal explained, "and when things went south, we were ill-prepared to handle it." The tragedy at City College was a critical time in Diddy's career, and while he managed to repair his image and achieve immense success, the memory of that night and the lives lost continued to resurface, especially as new controversies threatened to bring his empire down once more.
I was pumping the chest of one little boy when my man was crying, talking about, "Yo, this is my first time him being out. This is the first time him being out, bruh."
As the investigation into his alleged crimes continues, the sad events of 1991 serve as a big reminder of the consequences of irresponsibility and the persistent influence of past deeds.
I say, Puff, if they don't do a boxing one outside and get these kids off the door, somebody gonna die tonight. He said, "Gene, don't worry about that."
But how did Diddy manage to stay untouchable for nearly 3 decades? The question remains, was he protected by powerful friends who helped him dodge justice? His connections with the criminal underworld and law-breaking actions present an image of a hardened criminal and abuser avoiding consequences. Time and again, Diddy's role in the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry is generally established. He feuded with Suge Knight. The famed head of Death Row Records defined the 90s hip-hop scene. This rivalry ended in the assassinations of Tupac and the Notorious Six, with rumors swirling that Diddy may have played a part. Despite these persistent whispers, he managed to escape unscathed, his empire getting ever larger claims that
he was also told Combs' head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people disappear.
Fast forward to the early 2000s, and Diddy finds himself involved in yet another scandal. In 1999, he was charged with assault after an altercation with Steve Stout, the head of Interscope Records, over an unedited music video scene. Diddy reportedly attacked Stout with a chair telephone and champagne bottle.
I've seen the media portray me like I'm a gangster, which is just not the case.
Despite the severity of the incident, he got a simple slap on the wrist one day of anger management. This lenient sentence raised eyebrows, implying important persons may be sheltering him from harsher consequences. In 1999, Diddy and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were involved in a nightclub shooting in New York that wounded 3 people. Both were held, but Lopez's charges were dropped. Diddy faced trial for battery and gun possession. He claimed victimhood to systemic racism in the criminal justice system and was eventually acquitted. However, his protege rapper Shine wasn't as lucky. Shine spent 9 years in prison, alleging Diddy betrayed him to save himself. This incident further fueled the image of Diddy's invincibility and the possible influence of strong protectors.
So, it's just crazy. Just read.
As if these scandals weren't enough, new charges by ex-girlfriend Cassie Venture have put Diddy's violent inclinations back into the forefront. Cassie accused him of a decade-long habit of abuse, trafficking, and even blowing up rapper Kid Cutie car out of envy. The frightening fact that CTIC confirmed the automobile explosion adds weight to these claims. casting a shadow over Diddy's carefully manicured public image. Diddy's past is littered with incidents of violence and intimidation. His ability to avoid major legal repercussions points to a network of powerful connections and a knack for evading justice. As more victims come forward and cases pile up, the question remains, how long can Diddy continue to escape accountability?
It really did open the floodgates, as you said, because it detailed almost 2 decades of hidden coercion.
Legal experts are now weighing in with a dismal outlook for scene. Diddy Combs' NMA Armani, a respected attorney, has compared Diddy's position to the historic instances of Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly, hinting that Diddy could face a similarly tragic downfall. There's no possible plea that is going to get him off with a slap on the wrist or probation. Armani remarked, underlining the severity of the charges. If prosecutors succeed, Diddy might spend the rest of his life in jail, much like R. Kelly, who is already serving a 20-year term. The chance of a life sentence remains high as the federal probe escalates. Homeland Security agents recently raided Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami properties, seeking evidence linked to trafficking and other criminal activity, including possible firearm charges. Refman pointed out that a finding on even one count of trafficking carries a minimum penalty of 10 to 15 years. This is extremely striking given that the accusations cover various countries and feature numerous victims.
I ain't gonna lie.
As more victims come forward and more cases are filed, legal experts agree that Diddy's days of dodging justice may be coming to an end. I don't think it's an issue of if, but of when Diddy will be arrested. Armani recommended stressing the potential of an upcoming arrest warrant. Ultimately, the claims and ongoing investigation create a dismal picture for Diddy's future as his empire teeters on the edge of collapse. The entertainment. The world is watching, wondering if this is finally the time when Sen Diddy CMS will be held accountable for his actions, much like the infamous figures who came before him. What do you think about these shocking revelations? Could this finally be the moment Sen Diddy CS faces the consequences of his deeds, or will he find a way to evade justice once more? Do you think powerful connections have shielded him all these years, or is there more to the story? Let us know.